All right, coming up tomorrow night at O'Connor's Irish Pub, 10 Years will take the stage, and I believe it's the first time that 10 Years has taken the stage in Clarksville, at least from what I know. What the hell do I know? Brian's on the phone from 10 Years. Brian, am I correct?
I think that you guys have a place called the Warehouse, don't you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we have been there a couple times, actually, but it's been a long time.
Okay, more than 6 years, I'm guessing, because I've been waiting for you guys to come to Clarksville. And if I've missed it, I'm going to be really pissed off if it was in between that time.
It was probably more than 6 years ago, yeah.
Okay, good.
That was a relief for him.
Yeah.
I live in a time warp, like city to city on a tour bus, and literally, like, I have no memory. So I could be incorrect, but I think it has been over 6 years.
Yeah, I was going to say. But how do you do that, man? Like, how do you go from city to city? You're constantly touring. How do you, I don't know, stay focused in the city or town that you're in? You're like, okay, we're in Clarksville. We're not in Nashville or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, well, I mean, back in the early days, when we first started touring, like in 2005, we all tried to memorize the entire tour in every city, and we were real into that. And then now we just literally take it day to day because, I know I'm not going to remember what's supposed to happen a week from now. So I just, day to day for me, and that keeps it simple and the easiest for me.
Yeah, that would make more sense. I mean, hell, I try to take it day by day, and I'm in the same city, and I forget. Yeah,
exactly.
Well, it's almost been a year since your new record has come out, "How to Live as Ghost." I mean, in October it's going to be the year anniversary. I say almost a year. It really hasn't almost been a year, but it feels like it's almost going to be a year because you know how time goes. But it feels like you guys just started putting out a few new singles, and they're doing really well. How does that feel as you take so much time going into something like building a new record? You're like, okay, we're going to pick these songs, and then all of a sudden, after you're done touring, you're like, okay, it's already been it's time for a new one.
I know. Well, and the weird part for us is that we finished that record in last May, and then it didn't come out until October. So, we started playing Novocaine and a couple other songs from the record probably last July, and then the record, didn't come out for several months after that. So for us, the record is much older than it is to the rest of the world, and we're like it's not that we're already ready to go to the next one, but, we just released the new single Burnout, and it's new to so many people, but again, for us, it's like that's been an idea that's been kicking around for a couple years. So it is weird to have that lag between finishing an album in May and then the album not actually coming out until the end of October. Because we're like, let's go. We want everyone to hear it,
Yeah.
But that's not how the business is. The business makes you hurry up and wait. But this album's been really well received. So, man, we're just stoked. I mean, the fact that this band, like, I started this thing the end of my sophomore year of high school, and it's like, we're still doing it, and it's still going strong, and Novocaine was, probably our, second most successful single, aside from Wasteland, which was, still the only number one we've had, but Novocaine has got right up there. So we're happy to still be doing it and that people are listening and supporting.
That's awesome. I got to be honest. When Novocaine comes on here in the studio, I'm like, Tyler, turn it up. I got to hear that.
Dude,
like
that
super loud. It's amazing.
That bass line is sick. Just doom doom. It just hits.
Yeah.
I was wondering.
That's a really simple song too. That's straightforward because usually we like to overthink everything, and Novocaine is a prime example of working with a producer like Nick Rakulinix, who basically told us to stop thinking. He was like, you guys are great at just being a rock band. Don't even think. Write cool riffs and shut up.
That's good advice.
You mentioned, you said at the end of your sophomore year, which was...
Yeah.
Which
1998 is when I started the band. And, God, that's so long ago.
and that's exactly I was going to ask. So you guys are pretty much coming up at a 20-year anniversary, right? Do you have any big plans or anything for the 20th year? Like, what do you guys have in mind for doing anything for the 20-year anniversary?
Well, we're not even really going to do anything for that, but what we are going to do is at the end of the year, we're going to do some 10-year anniversary dates from our second record, Division.
Mm-hmm.
So that album that had songs like Beautiful on it, that one came out 10 years ago. So we're going to do some special shows where we play that full album in its entirety, and that's going to be at the end of the year. Other than that, no, we're not really doing anything else. It's just hard to even fathom that this thing is still happening and that it's been that long. I don't feel like I've gotten that much older, but apparently it has been going on for 20 years.
Yeah. I think you're about the same age as me, and like after you hit 30, you kind of feel like I'm still good, and then it starts to like creep up on you, and like certain things, like you sleep wrong, and you just wake up, and you're like, God damn, this hurts.
Oh, dude, yeah, I know. And if we have like a month off or whatever from tour, and I haven't seen those guys, when we get back on the bus that first day, and I look over and I'm like, dude, you have more gray hair in your beard. It's just very strange. See, I'm like the half Asian, no gray hair yet, no wrinkles yet, dude. So everyone's like, you're just lucky, blah blah blah. But I get to poke fun at everyone else.
Nice.
It's gonna catch up with me. So
yeah,
it's gonna hit you like a ton of bricks. You're like, oh my God, is this me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna wake up one day looking like one of those dudes from like Kung Fu back in the day with like full white beard.
I totally just got a visual.
Oh, me too.
I got the visual of the Lego movie. I don't know if you've seen the Lego movie. But,
oh yeah, I have 3 kids.
Yeah, but you know what I'm talking about, the Master.
Oh yeah.
With the white hair master.
Totally.
Yeah, that's my visual I just got of you for some reason. So
yeah, well that's gonna happen one day.
So back in your sophomore year when you started this band, you were the drummer, or am I wrong on that?
Well, so really what happened was I started the band with a Marshall half stack and a guitar, and I was like so stoked. I'm like, dude, I'm going to be the guitar player in a band. I'm going to get all my friends. We're going to do this thing. We're going to rock out. And nobody played drums. Like literally, like nobody that I knew played drums. Finally, there was one kid that had a drum kit. There's a difference between having a drum kit and playing drums. Just trust me on that one.
Yeah.
And this kid had his mom drop him off. He brought his drum kit over. We loaded it into the garage, and I was like, man, this is going to be so cool. We're going to play and blah, blah, blah. And then the dude could not make one single beat, and he was mortified when we started to play, and he like left my house and left his drum kit there.
Wow.
So the drum set was there, and I'm actually wanting to say that he didn't come back and pick that up for like 2 years or something. It was like insane. But I started messing around on his drum kit, and Matt, our other guitar player in 10 years, was like, dude, we know like 20 guitar players. Why don't you try and play drums for a show? And I was like, well, maybe I'll do one gig. That's it. And then we're going to find a drummer. Because I started this thing. I want to be on guitar, damn it. And then, literally one gig turned into like whatever it was, like 15 years on the drums. So somehow I just like whenever I could visualize what the drums were supposed to do. So without really having lessons or the knowledge or anything, I just kind of had a feel for what they should do. And every time I would write the guitar riffs for the songs, I always kind of knew what I wanted the drums to do, like in my brain without even thinking about it. I just kind of had a feeling of what that should be. So the transition to the drums was pretty natural, but I just didn't anticipate becoming a drummer, so to speak. That still is kind of weird in a way to me. But I think now that I've been doing this for long enough, I kind of feel like my place in music is more as a songwriter and kind of not just one particular instrument,
Yeah. Brian from 10 Years is on the phone with us right now. What was the moment like? Okay, so you started in 98. Yeah, you started playing drums because you couldn't find a drum, like you just said. What was the moment like when you found Jesse as your singer now, obviously?
So, okay, we had a different singer from 98 to like 2001.
It was like Mike or something, right?
Yes, and Mike actually was incredible. Like the original concept for what the band was we were going to be super heavy and dark, and it was going to be kind of like a Tool meets Slipknot, like this really just gnarly thing, because Mike was less of a melodic singer and more of a screamer, growler, high energy, kind of almost like he could literally do the Zach De La Rocha Rage Against the Machine thing like perfectly.
Nice.
So we were going to be this super angsty and aggressive thing, and then all of a sudden we showed up for band practice one day, and Mike goes, "Well, I'm moving to L.A. I'm going to become an actor. See ya." Like, dang it! You know, so like first off, I have to become the drummer, and now you're leaving. Dang
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So at that time, I was working at a Sam Goody in the mall, of all places. It was like, you know, the little old school music shop and everything.
Mhm.
I remember
and so I was
those.
slinging. Oh, dude, yeah. So I was slinging like Enrique Iglesias CDs and stuff. And Jesse sang in a different band back then, like a little local band. And I didn't know who he was, but one day him and one of his other bandmates came into Sam Goody, and at that time, 10 Years had developed enough of a local band presence that, you know, the other bands, a lot of the other bands knew about us and were coming to our shows. And I didn't know him, but he knew me from 10 Years, so he walked up to the counter, and, you know, I'm like, you know, "Hey, welcome to Sam Goody, can I help you?" or whatever it was. And he was like, "Yeah, will you please come to our show? We're playing, and I know you're in 10 Years, and we would like it if you would check us out." And he handed me a flyer, and that was literally like the day after our singer said he was leaving.
Oh, wow.
So I talked to Matt, our other guitar player, and I was like, "Dude, if we're going to keep this thing going, we have to figure out what we're going to do. So let's at least go out to this show," because I think there was like 4 or 5 bands playing. And I was like, let's just see if any of the singers are any good, you know, and then we'll steal them. So we went to the show, and Jesse's band got on stage, and he was one of 2 vocalists. There was another vocalist, but the other guy was a screamer. So the first song starts, and this guy's like brutally screaming, and we're like, no, this isn't going to work. And then Jesse is standing there with these long, weird dreadlocks, and he's facing the drummer like he was too shy to even turn around. And he started singing, and Matt and I both looked at each other and were like, "That's the new singer. Let's go get him."
Yeah.
So, you know, long story short, I found his number and stalked him until he agreed to do it.
Hey, man, good on you, because
There you
I think
go.
that was like before Facebook and stuff. That was probably MySpace days, I guess. Was that 2002 or something like that?
2001. But what I ended up doing was I just knew somebody that knew him and got his home phone number and just kept calling. He was never home, by the way. The dude was always gone for some reason. But finally, like a week later, he called me back, and then we set up a rehearsal, and we did the first rehearsal. And he actually was so nervous at the first rehearsal, it was really bad. Like, and it was bad enough to where we left, and Matt and I were like, actually, I don't think this is going to work. And so we started to look for other people. And then for some reason, the other people didn't work out, whatever. And then we just went back to Jesse and we're like, well, we'll give him one more try. And the second try, what we did was, instead of just jamming like covers and stuff, we tried to write a song. We were like, let's just see what happens if we try to write, because he was really bad at covers back then. And we wrote a song, and it was really good. And then everything just took off from there. And then literally, it wasn't long after that when we wrote Wasteland.
Wow, man.
Oh, wow.
That is great. That is great. He's such a great singer. I mean, I know a lot of people draw.
He is.
I know a lot of people draw comparisons to Keenan from Tool, but he is so, especially y'all's acoustic stuff, just top notch. I mean, I listen to just the acoustic stuff off YouTube, just to listen to it. Like, God, his voice is so good. It was like made for acoustic covers.
Right, totally. Yeah, you're right.
So I was going to ask, because Tyler mentioned earlier that, you know, we weren't 100% sure if you had been to Clarksville, or if you had, it was at least before he was here. So, you know, I was wondering, with you being the band being based out of Tennessee, Knoxville, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so do you guys have like a sense of comfort when you play shows in Tennessee, like Nashville or Clarksville or, you know, Chattanooga, anywhere that's kind of like your own backyard type of thing?
Well, you do actually kind of feel like you're amongst your own people in a way. You know what I mean? Like Tennesseans, it's like we take pride in being Tennesseans. So it is nice, and I always feel like the crowds tend to support bands from the area a lot. You know, like we get a little bit of extra love just because we're from around here, which is awesome.
Right.
And you know, a lot of people when they're young, especially, and you know, you're trying to make it big in the entertainment business, like our original singer, you know, you want to do the move to LA and go out and be amongst the stars and do all that thing. But for us, all of us, you know, we always just, you know, Knoxville's home, Tennessee is home, and you know, our original bass player Lewis, he's now in Nashville. But, you know, he still stayed in Tennessee, and me, Jesse, and Matt are still in Knoxville. It's just, it really is home, and we have no intention of ever going anywhere. So I think that, you know, especially here in Knoxville when we play, there's a lot of pride, you know, hometown pride there. It's really cool.
That's completely understandable. You're right. Being a Tennessean, because I'm born and raised here in Clarksville, so being a Tennessean, there is a lot of pride in Tennessee. Now, I'm going to put you on the spot about your hometown, because we're right here in Tennessee, so people around here can just make a quick trip to Knoxville anytime. If you had to pick one place, because we love food here. I'm a fat guy, so you know I like food. So if you could put out one place where you would tell anybody from Clarksville, Nashville, Chattanooga, wherever, if they haven't been to Knoxville, they have to eat here, what would that place be?
Oh man, that's a tough one. Well, there's an area of town. It's in downtown called Market Square, and there's a bunch of restaurants in that area. And I would say, I know that's the cheap way out for me to not answer the question directly. But there's a bunch of things down there. I'm trying to think of there's a place called Savelli's that's Italian that's like ridiculous. But we also have some really good barbecue joints. There was a band called Gran Torino back in the day. That was, you know, they were like a big kind of jam band, and they toured around and did tons of big shows. And the singer went on to create Sweet Peas Barbecue, and that place is in town. So I would probably say that that's definitely a must too, because not only is it killer Southern barbecue, but it's from, you know, a good dude and a guy that's been in the music business as well.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
There you go.
Yeah.
And barbecue's right up my alley, so I'm going to remember that.
Because he's fat.
Hey, man, no shame there.
No, none at all. I'm rocking the dad bod, and I'm proud of it.
Yeah. The dad bod is
you go.
in. You know, no more six-pack abs. Ladies say that the six-pack abs, it's not comfortable to lay on.
Yeah.
Well, this is why I'm so popular these days.
Yeah. See? Every guy is using that to their, you know, advantage. Be like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna eat whatever I want because I want that pillow for my next woman or whatever. Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
Brian from 10 Years is on the phone with us, man. We appreciate all the time that you've given us, and best of luck tomorrow at O'Connor's. You're going to love the place. It's a huge outdoor facility. Hopefully the weather is perfect like it is today, which I'm sure it will be. Mm-hmm. But is there anything that we should be on the lookout for? Like if we're heading to the show, we're a diehard 10 Years fan, is there something that you're going to play old school or any new tracks or anything like that?
We're playing a lot from the new album, and we actually, it's hard, like, when we put out a new album, we have the tendency to want to play, like, the whole freaking thing because it's new and exciting, you know? I mean, we've played songs from the first album for, 13 years now, so for us, it's really fun to play the new stuff. So we're definitely going to play a big chunk of the new album. One thing that we've been doing that people really enjoy is that there was a Best Buy exclusive album of How to Live as a Ghost that included our cover of Heart Shaped Box from Nirvana.
Oh.
And we do that one live, and it's quite different than the original. But I hope that we're not banishing ourselves from the music industry by doing that. But it was a fun one, and people have definitely been receptive of it so far.
Nice. Oh, and also I forgot to mention this. You guys are giving away a custom-made drum head. You purchased a ticket to the show for obviously tomorrow at O'Connor's, and you will be entered to win a drum head. I guess it will be signed or something like that?
Yeah, it's signed, and then also like Jesse makes these like insanely gorgeous drum heads. Like he does art on them, and I'm not exactly sure which one this one's going to look like, but he does really crazy custom drum heads. And he actually, he never thought he was going to be a singer. He was just going to be an artist or an art teacher. So art is in his blood, and that was his first passion before he got into music. So he's really, really good at that stuff. So whichever one it's going to be awesome, I'm sure.
Yeah, the picture shows it's got a set list, and Catacombs and Lucky You lyrics are on there. But it does say heart-shaped box on the set list, so I'm just saying.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
All right, man. Well, best of luck with you for the rest of your tour, and we can't wait to see you tomorrow night at O'Connor's, Brian.
Awesome. Thanks so much for your time, guys.